The first note nearly made me stop walking. It floated through the bright afternoon air of the city park like a voice searching for someone who understood it. It wasn't perfect. A few notes trembled. A few arrived a second too late. But there was something in that melody that pulled at my heart so hard I found myself changing direction without even thinking. Before we begin, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner if you believe kindness and second chances can change someone's life. Stories like this remind us that even the smallest acts of compassion can create miracles. The sound led me toward a small wooden pavilion near the center of the park. Families wandered between flower beds, children chased pigeons, and sunlight danced across the grass. In the middle of it all stood an old public piano that the city had installed years earlier. Most days it sat untouched. Today, however, someone was playing. The pianist was a young girl, perhaps 11 or 12 years old. Her fingers moved carefully across the keys, exploring them as though she were mapping an unfamiliar world. A white cane rested beside the piano bench. She was blind. Several people watched from a distance, smiling softly before continuing on with their day. I should have done the same. Instead, I stood there listening. The melody stumbled again. Then she started over. And again. And again. There was determination in her face that seemed far older than her years. I had played piano since childhood. Music had once been the center of my life. Years earlier I had dreamed of becoming a professional pianist, but life had taken unexpected turns. Bills arrived. Responsibilities multiplied. Dreams were packed away into dusty corners. The piano became something I rarely touched. Yet standing there, listening to that brave little girl refuse to quit, I felt something awaken inside me. After a few minutes, she paused and turned her head slightly. It was almost as if she sensed someone standing nearby. I approached carefully and introduced myself as Rowan. She smiled immediately. Her name was Tessa. There was an openness in her expression that made conversation effortless. She explained that she came to the park every Tuesday afternoon because her mother worked nearby. While waiting, she practiced on the public piano. She admitted she was trying to learn a difficult piece but kept getting stuck. I asked whether she would mind if I sat beside her. Her smile widened. A moment later we were sharing the piano bench. At first, I simply played a few notes to help her find the melody. Then she joined in. Something magical happened. The mistakes stopped mattering. The park disappeared. The noise faded. There was only music. Tessa listened more carefully than anyone I had ever met. She could identify tiny changes in rhythm and emotion that many trained musicians missed entirely. When I played softly, she followed. When I built intensity, she matched it. It felt less like teaching and more like having a conversation. Over the following weeks, Tuesday afternoons became something I looked forward to. Every Tuesday I returned. Every Tuesday Tessa was there. We played simple songs. Then harder songs. Then songs neither of us had ever attempted before. The friendship grew naturally. She told me stories about school. I told her stories about my childhood. She laughed often. I realized I hadn't laughed that much in years. Yet beneath her cheerful personality, I sensed a quiet sadness. One afternoon I finally learned why. Tessa explained that she had never seen her mother's face. She had never seen a sunrise. Never seen rainbows. Never seen the stars. But what hurt most was that she had never heard her mother play music. Apparently her mother used to be an incredible pianist years ago. Then something happened. The piano disappeared from their lives. Whenever Tessa asked about it, her mother changed the subject. The mystery stayed with me. Week after week passed. Then came the Tuesday that changed everything. The day was warm and bright. Birds chirped overhead. The park buzzed with life. Tessa and I were playing a beautiful duet we had spent weeks learning together. For the first time, she performed it flawlessly. The final note drifted away. A small crowd applauded. Tessa beamed with pride. Then I noticed someone standing near the edge of the pavilion. A woman. She looked to be in her late 30s. Her eyes glistened with tears. She had been listening. Before either of us could speak, she slowly stepped forward. Her gaze remained fixed on the piano. For a long moment, she simply stood there. Then she looked at Tessa. Then at me. And finally, with a trembling voice filled with emotion she could barely contain, she asked a question that stunned both of us. Could she play with us? The silence that followed felt enormous. Tessa froze. Her face filled with surprise. For years she had wanted this moment. For years she had waited. The woman sat beside us. Her hands hovered above the keys. They trembled. I could see fear. Regret. Heartbreak. Hope. Then her fingers touched the piano. The first chord rang through the pavilion. Everyone stopped moving. Every conversation nearby faded. The sound was extraordinary. Not because it was technically perfect, but because it carried years of hidden emotion. It sounded like grief finding its voice. Like healing beginning. Like love returning home. As she played, tears streamed down her face. Later she revealed the truth. Years earlier, Tessa's father had died unexpectedly. The loss shattered her. Music had once connected them. After his death, every piano note reminded her of what she had lost. The pain became so overwhelming that she stopped playing completely. She locked that part of herself away. But in doing so, she unintentionally locked it away from her daughter too. For years she believed silence protected her. Instead, it created distance. Now, watching Tessa play, she realized what music could have been. A bridge. A memory. A gift. Not a wound. The three of us began playing together. A mother. A daughter. And a stranger who happened to stop and listen one afternoon. People gathered around the pavilion. Some smiled. Others cried openly. No one wanted the music to end. When the final song concluded, Tessa reached for her mother's hand. The look on her face was unforgettable. She couldn't see her mother's tears. She couldn't see her smile. But she could feel both. And somehow, that seemed even more powerful. Months later, the Tuesday tradition continued. Only now there were 3 pianists instead of 2. The pavilion became a place of healing. A place where loss transformed into connection. A place where forgotten dreams returned. And for me, it became proof that kindness rarely arrives with grand announcements. Sometimes it begins with a single note. A single conversation. A single decision to stop and listen. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner so more people can experience stories that remind us of the power of compassion. Special request, comment below with the name of someone whose kindness changed your life. As the sun set one evening and music drifted across the park once again, I realized something beautiful. I thought I was helping a blind girl learn piano. In reality, she helped 3 people find something they had all lost in different ways. She helped her mother rediscover joy. She helped me rediscover purpose. And she showed everyone who listened that even after years of silence, the heart always remembers the melody it was meant to play.